米大リーグの球団幹部や代理人が集まり、アリゾナ州スコッツデールで行われていたゼネラルマネージャー会議が9日に全日程を終了しました。今会議ではエンゼルスからフリーエージェントになった大谷翔平や、プロ野球オリックスから移籍を目指す山本由伸が話題の中心で、水面下で情報交換や交渉の下地を整えたとみられます。現地記者の情報では、ドジャース、ジャイアンツ、マリナーズが積極的に獲得に動くと見られており、エンゼルス残留の可能性も含め、争奪レースのフロントランナーとして4チームが挙げられています。そんな中、MLB ネットワークの番組、ハイヒートでは、お騒がせ司会者で有名なクリス・マッドドッグ・ルッソ氏が、大谷の移籍先について、
ジャイアンツが一番有力だ
とし、その理由についても解説していましたので、日本語字幕付きでご紹介していきます。
Shohei Ohtani, will he be playing for a team in California in 2024?
A lot of people think, I know Pedro thinks it, a lot of people think the Red Sox. Red Sox need to show their fan base that they're committed to winning via payroll. They have obviously a new vice president of baseball operations. I don't know enough about Ohtani. He never tells us anything. So, I mean, to try to speculate if he wants to go all the way to Boston and play in the East Coast, in that little ballpark, in that town, I mean, I would find that hard to believe. I know he loves Newport Beach. I would still opt to think West Coast. So I'm going to say Giants. I don't buy the idea he doesn't like the ballpark, hasn't hit there. Giants have as much of a way to do this as the Red Sox do. I'll say, end of the day, he stays in the West Coast. I would have said the Angels if they finished better, but I'll say at the end of the day, he stays in the West Coast. I'll say San Francisco.
All right, so if he's going to be in California, we know it's not going to be the Athletics. He's probably not going to stay with the Angels. Again, the Red Sox need pitching, and he can't pitch this upcoming year, right? He can only serve as the DH. I wouldn't be surprised if he went to the Giants because I do think the Giants need to make a splash, but so far people think the front runner is the Los Angeles Dodgers. That remains to be seen.
また、ニューヨークメッツの公式テレビ番組 SNY では、大谷争奪戦について、
野球界で最も財政に余裕のあるオーナーたちのマネーゲームだ
と表現し、大谷獲得によって生じるリスクについても解説していましたので、こちらも日本語字幕付きでご紹介していきます。
So what do you say right now? We kick the tires on Shohei Ohtani. It's presented by Duncan. Let's begin with you on this, Anthony. We heard what David Stearns had to say in our last segment. How involved do you expect the Mets to be when it comes to their pursuit of the top free agent on the market?
Well, look, Gary, it's the best player in baseball.
Yes, by far.
By far. He's a free agent. And it is the richest owner in baseball with the game's biggest payroll. So, yes, of course there is a chance that the Mets go all in on Shohei Ohtani here, outbid the competition, get the player. But I would certainly say that's far, far, far from a sure thing for a couple of reasons. One, let's remember the lesson we just learned with Craig Counsell. The guy has to want to come here, first of all. There's a lot of questions about that, about Ohtani wanting to come to the East Coast at all. He may well just want to stay in California. Two, guys, just because you can afford the player, as David Stearns just said, doesn't mean that he fits perfectly for you. This is a big risk for any team that takes on Shohei Ohtani. I understand how good the guy is. He's obviously one of the best hitters in the game, if not the best, one of the best pitchers in the game, if not the best. But when you're talking about long-term, projecting out an 8, 9, 10-year contract at what? Close, perhaps $500 million or more. That is a massive risk. Does David Stearns, in his first big move as Mets manager, want to tie up essentially his entire legacy in this one player? I'm not necessarily sold on that with all these other options out there until we see that the interest is real.
See, I agree with you. I think that if they were one player away, then you might see the Mets go all in on Ohtani. Go, hey, this is a guy. We're going to pay him whatever it takes, and he takes us over the top. But they need to spread out their money, I think, this winter because there's so many different holes to fill. And I believe or buy into the skepticism about him being on the East Coast. Now, if you want to really, really overpay him, then maybe he'll change his mind. But I always have a little bit of a leeriness about a player. If there's any hesitation to come to the East Coast, then I think you should be concerned, especially that type of money. So for me, I think they'll end up going in on him, but kind of like what they did with Counsell. They didn't go all in on him. They felt like there was another option there, and I think there's other options other than Ohtani.
I do think they're going to go all in on Ohtani personally, and I would go all in. This is a generational type player. I know he's coming off the surgery, but he can be back in the lineup next year from an offensive standpoint. We know the Mets have missed that big bat. I know they have Alonso, but they have missed that second big bat. So it's going to be interesting to see just how aggressive they are here, and I do think they will be aggressive. We know the West Coast teams might have an advantage here, beginning with the Dodgers. Do you think that is the biggest competitor here for the Mets when it comes to Ohtani?
I think it's no doubt because they've come below the luxury tax. They've had a reset on the penalties that the Dodgers are clearly the number one option. You know, Ohtani has said it without saying it, too. I mean, he wants to go to a place that's winning or has won. And Dodgers, you know, it's hard to find anyone that's better than winning than the Dodgers so far, at least in the NL West. And so I think they're number one. I think a close second are the Giants. The Giants have wanted to spend money over the last couple seasons. They missed out on Harper. They missed out on Judge. They've been, feels like they have money burning in their pocket. So I think they're another one. The other one that I've heard more recently at the World Series was the Texas Rangers. Now that they have won, their owner doesn't care about the luxury tax. He has a ton of money. They're looking to go ahead and repeat. He's been in the West. They've been at, you know, they've compete against him. So that's a sleeper team out there that I would take a look at as well.
また、大谷との再契約を狙うエンゼルスも、マネーゲームから降りない姿勢を見せています。ペリー・ミナシアン GM は、日本時間8日に開幕した GM ミーティングの会場で、日米の報道陣に対応、FA 史上最大の目玉である大谷について、
我々のプラン通りに進めていく。
と交渉を継続すると明かしました。700億円規模の史上最高契約額が見込まれる大谷と再契約に至れば、贅沢税の支払い基準額、約357億円を超過する可能性もありますが、同 GM は、
チームにとって正しい選択であれば、オーナー側は贅沢税の支払いも辞さない。
と強調。地元メディアなどによれば、リアル二刀流の実質1年目だった2021年以降、球団の利益は年々増加。全世界から注目を集める大谷のおかげで今季、スポンサー収入だけで50億円近い利益を得たと言われています。大谷についてモレノオーナーは、
彼は素晴らしい人柄で、我々は大好きだ。
と再三にわたって持ち上げています。同オーナーはこれまでも自身がお気に入りの選手と大型契約を交わしてきました。大谷もヤンキースやドジャースなどの金満球団に負けない破格のオファーを受けても何ら不思議ではありません。SNS の反応をご紹介します。
大谷さんと巨額契約を結べば、上位3人で予算の半分を使うことになります。マイナーが枯渇しているために、トレードはできず、贅沢税を超過したとしても、残りの予算でのブルペン整備含めた優勝を狙うための編成は、やはり無理がありますよね。
モレノ君、もう遅いよ。大谷選手は無戦略エンゼルスには愛想が尽きている。言葉にはしないが6年間のご奉公で恩義は返したよねと思っている。球団とファンに利益とエンタメ性で十分に還元したから。
賢明な大谷ならこんな問題オーナーがいる限り、エンゼルスから目がくらむような大金を積まれても断ると思う。
などの声が聞かれていました。これからも大谷の活躍から目が離せません。皆様からのコメントもお待ちしております。